Hi, everybody. I originally made a PowerPoint with some sound bites on it, and then I read a discussion post or like a question saying, how come my PowerPoint isn't uploading? And somebody said that D2L does not accept that. So I guess I will just record the recordings. So, okay. During week 1, I went to my friend's new apartment, and he had just bought all these flowers and planted them on his deck, and they all looked gorgeous. And so I went around to look at them and noticed that some of them were flourishing and others were basically dying. And so I said, hey, these actually have little tags. They actually tell you how to take care of them because they're not all the same. You know, they need different stuff. And he was like, nah, flowers are flowers, right? Just sun and water. So this made me think back to the foundational definitions that we went over that week, discrimination, oppression, inequality. And it just got me thinking that even though as a whole these flowers look great, some of them are not getting their needs met because they were placed at a disadvantage. And so I thought that was my connection. In week 2, I attended the Oregon Foster Youth Conference as part of my internship. I was able to meet a lot of foster youth in the system and out, and they told me their very personal, foster system stories about how they interacted with their family, whether or not that was their original or their foster family, and how just things in the environment impacted them, how they interacted with their environment, and it reminded me of systems theory, which was the theory that I was assigned to that week. Because systems theory is how a person interacts with their environment, how the family system affects the individual and family functioning across a lifespan. So I was able to make a connection between the two, which I thought was awesome. In week 3, there was content about different contexts of social work, whether it be sociocultural, community, professional, agency. And I kind of focused on the agency context that week because I walk up Burnside, basically across the bridge and up to at least 10th every day. And I noticed these different agencies. And it made me wonder because, in an agency, their practices and policies are the things that influence how and where and in what ways they practice. So it made me think, as a homeless person on Burnside, having all of these resources, how different are their services, their beliefs, their mission statement, and how does that affect how that same person is treated in multiple agencies? This was the week that we read Adverse Community Experiences and Resilience. And I thought that article was really eye-opening for me anyway, because I knew, I always knew abstractly that community trauma is a thing. It does need to be addressed, but this article actually highlighted the symptoms of community trauma and the strategies to heal a community. And those are things I didn't know, so I thought that was very cool. And this week I went through some articles and cut out a bunch of representations that on the left would be the trauma and on the right would be the healing. This was the week we had to look up articles regarding ethical dilemmas relating to our upcoming internship, and I'm going to work with foster youth, and they're going to advocate for themselves on a policy level for things that they want changed in the foster care system. And there was one article in particular that gave 4 different examples of approaches when working with youth to have them kind of take the reins, and there were positives and negatives of each, and I just thought they were really helpful and really interesting. Week 6, we started talking about supervision and maybe some of our hesitations and what we're looking forward to, and I reflected on my experience at the conference that I went to and how when I was in a meeting with all the adults, I talked about how I'm pretty good with boundaries, so I don't have, issues of crossing those, and I'm not having issues with that because some other interns there were. And boundaries was not a great word there, and somebody who works at the place I'm going to be interning for said that she found it very offensive that I will not share my personal stories with these kids. And so I had to basically reflect on that. And, boundaries, I guess, mean different things to different people. So that's that. So I did a little drawing, a very beautiful drawing of my experience of internship in my BSW program. And my supervisor was perfectly nice, but she was very busy. She was very absent. And I deserved more. Of course, I didn't know that at the time. She's the one with the MSW. She knows better, things like that. But yeah, this is basically how I felt every day. True story. So yeah, that's my compilation of my artful integrations. Thanks so much. Bye.